Hello, and welcome to Group 3's presentation of the Needs Assessment project for LIS 650 at University of North Carolina, Greensboro. This project was carried out by Janelle Crone, Leander Croker, both of Charlotte, North Carolina, Unai Chai of Durham, North Carolina, and John Stevens of Greensboro, North Carolina. The goal of our project was to assess how well our middle school media center was serving its users. We interviewed students, staff, administrators, and the librarian. The students were given a 10-question survey with yes or no questions. Of 721 students polled, we received 586 responses. Staff received a 13-question survey. Out of 60 staff members, we received 40 responses. We also interviewed via email the librarian and the administrator of the school. The library serves 721 students and 60 staff members, and is staffed by one school librarian, one library assistant, and 14 student volunteers. The collection includes 12,000 materials in various formats. In addition, the library serves a population of special needs students, including students with multiple handicaps, such as mild mental disabilities and behavioral issues. The library also serves a population of students who are learning to speak English. The job of the school librarian includes duties such as building the library collection, and she exercises complete control over the selection process using the North Carolina Standard Course of Study as a guideline. Along with the jobs of processing new materials and repairing and circulating existing resources, the librarian is available to provide instruction in information literacy for students as well as schedule computer time for classes in the library. The library can accommodate up to 4 classes per day. Additionally, the librarian works to provide continuing education credits for staff members. The librarian feels that the library's goals are being met. The 3 goals she has are: 1. Create a place where students can come to relax and be free of academic concerns. 2. That the library contains appropriate reading materials. Appropriateness includes relevancy to the school curriculum and materials that are of interest to the student. 3. That the library supports the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. If she has any regrets, she feels that the administrative work takes away from her time spent with the children. She would prefer to give the students more time and spend less time on the administrative end of the job. The students were polled on several broad categories, which include whether they use the library to find resources for schoolwork, whether they use the library to find recreational reading, and whether or not the librarians are helpful. On using the library to find school materials, overall, 72% of the 586 respondents stated that the library was useful. Our research indicates that as students grow older, their comfort with using the library increased. 6th graders felt the least confident that they were when they used the library to find books for school, with only 64% answering yes, while 7th grade had an 80% success rate. On the matter of using the library to find pleasure reading, the trend was just the opposite. The younger students felt that it was easier to do, while the older students did not. 76% of 6th graders felt that it was easy to use the library to find recreational reading, while only 68% of the 8th graders did. Finally, 79% of all students in grades 6 through 8 found the librarians to be helpful. The next few slides represent data gathered from polling staff members in our school library. The polling was done online. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. Of the 60 staff members at the school, 40 responded to our poll for a response rate of 67%. A low point would be the library services for their classes. 55% answered once a year or once a semester when asked how often they visited the library for classroom purposes. An additional 25% answered a couple of times a year. Another low score came when staff members were asked how often they used the library to help with lesson plans. The score was 2.1 out of 5. The library also scored low on co-teaching lessons with a score of 2.4 out of 5. To continue with our results from polling the staff at the school library, staff members were asked 12 questions focusing on how the library helped them and what services they used in the library. The responses were for the most part positive, with the library garnering high ratings in several areas. In particular, high scores were received for the appropriateness of the library collection, 4 out of 5, and openness to ordering new resources based on teacher need, 4.2 out of 5. These two categories align with the library's goal of having materials that support the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. This next PowerPoint slide shows information that is more customer service in nature and is much more in line with the librarian's first goal of creating an environment that is comfortable for students and for teachers to use. As you can see, the scores on several of these categories are very high. The library assistant is available to help me, scored 4.1 out of 5. The librarian is available to help me with my question, scored a 4.2 out of 5. I'm able to find the books I need, scored a 4.0 out of 5. The library environment is open and inviting, also scored a 4.0 out of 5. And finally, the library hours are convenient for me, scored a 3.9 out of 5. One confounding element to our research was the feedback we received from the library media assistant. We sent her a survey consisting of 12 questions from First Break All the Rules. She indicated that she loves her job. However, she answered each of the 12 questions with a non-committal score of 3. Without further comment from her, we cannot determine anything from her survey. Our research indicates that the library does have some areas that can be improved upon. For instance, many staff and students indicated that they do not use the library very often. 51% of students said that they don't go to the library outside of class time at all, and only 13% of teachers come to the library at least once a week. Of the teachers who do come to the library once a week, most were English teachers, which means that science, social studies, and mathematics teachers are not making good use of the library's resources. As for collaboration with the teachers, the majority of teachers state that they do not use the library for lesson planning, and few staff members indicate that librarians co-teach lessons. Further areas for improvement for the library we surveyed include teaching staff members how to use WebPath Express, which is a search engine used to find quality websites. Our research indicates that about half of the staff members do not know how to use it at all, and another 28% do not use it whether they know how to or not. The library has not created raving fans either. The library got no 5s on any survey questions, and 9 of the 12 questions averaged a score of between 3.6 and 4.2. Members of Group 3 feel that the needs assessment was successful. Both groups that were polled had a high response rate. 80% of the students responded, and nearly 70% of the staff responded. Students were given their survey in an anonymous fashion, and no team member was there to skew the results. The staff response came from a wide variety of subject areas, which we feel gave the survey some validity. Some weaknesses included a lack of comments from survey respondents because the surveys were organized in a yes-no format. It is possible that we missed some clarifying data because of that. Another problem was the lack of leadership within the group until very late in the process. A final weakness is that one of the team members works in the library that was surveyed. Despite these weaknesses, Team 3 feels that their project was a success. The members of Group 3 feel the project was successful in assessing the strengths and weaknesses of our school media library which we studied. We feel that our recommendations are accurate and fair. We look forward to sharing our results with the staff members of the school library and sincerely hope that they will result in some positive changes.